this town with your host T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace, highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud from the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine behind the...
There, welcome to For My ATL Sports 1 and For My ATL Movies 1. I have my guys with me, Mr. Jordan Burton and Mr. Dave Laparo, and they are in the house. And today, gentlemen, we are talking about Wolverine X-Men Origins. That's right. I would try and be excited, but we've seen the movie. But nevertheless, we're going to make a night of it, and we're going to have fun. And, yeah, man, we're going to get into it. So, Jordan, how you doing, man? I noticed you're donning your Rams jersey. Is there a reason for that, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Little inside joke, I guess, from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Deadpool made a sly joke, saying you look like you play football for the Los Angeles Rams. So I was like, well, I might as well wear a Los Angeles Rams jersey for a Wolverine movie. If I had a Canadian Football League jersey, I would probably be wearing that because Wolverine's Canadian.
He is
and
Canadian.
They make that very clear at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah, they do. As a matter of fact, that was one of my favorite scenes where it's like, your country needs you. And he's like, I'm from Canada. I thought
Yeah,
that was kind of cool. Dave, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey. Doing well. I'm sporting the Cleveland Monsters hat because I'm from Cleveland and I love hockey.
Love it.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the movie.
Absolutely nothing. You know what? You know what else is interesting, Jordan? So Dave's about 6'2", and you can't tell it from looking at him, but he's cock diesel. Like, dude is built for real. Like, Dave came to my house and I was like, oh shit, this dude works out. Like, I don't want any problems. I don't want no problems with Dave. Let me tell you something. If we ever play football, Jordan, Dave's on my team. All right? Dave's gonna handle you got a problem? Dave. Let's go, Dave. Dave works out, man. Seriously.
I play sports, but I don't really do it like
Dave,
that.
I've seen Dave, so Dave has Popeye forearms. Like Dave's arms are huge, dude. I'm just whatever, Dave. Okay, whatever. And get this, Jordan. He plays hockey. You know what that means, right?
Oh.
That means he can
means
fight.
I drink a lot of beer after.
No, that means he can
I
fight.
was going to say, he probably lost a lot of teeth, maybe.
Means he can.
We wear the full cages and everything, and there's I wouldn't say like full on fights, but there's some scrappiness, especially the last couple of times I've been out there. It's been a little scrappy.
That's code for I kicked 3 dudes' ass. That's what that is.
No.
But okay.
That's fun.
All right.
Family fun.
He says it's fun. I would not survive one game where there were 2-minute quarters. I would not survive that. But hey, man, what, dude? Jordan, have you ever played hockey? You ever been to a hockey game?
I've been to a Lehigh Valley Phantoms game. We used to play like floor hockey in gym class, and I could not shoot for the life of me. The best I ever was at hockey was NHL 10 on PlayStation 3.
Bro, that puck moves so fast, man.
Oh yeah,
that puck that's y'all can have that. Y'all can have that. I come back to work missing all my teeth. What happened? I was playing hockey with Dave, and it didn't work out. So
him right at me. Right here.
Was playing hockey with Dave. All right, man. Wolverine analysis, plot summary, review, and character arc. We're doing Wolverine X-Men Origins today. This is chronologically the next step for his gentleman. Overview, whatever, man. You guys can read. We're going to do an overview, a plot summary, a character arc, and probably some themes, and then we'll rate it. And that's what we'll do, guys. So this movie was released May 1st, 2009. I got this one right, Jordan. Yes, I did. Because last week, Dave, dummy, that's me. And you know what's sad? Like, I really went through the document like several times, but I missed the fact that when I got the release date, they gave me the release date for the first Fantastic Four movie, which was 20 years prior to this one. And Jordan's laughing because he's like, oh my God, Jordan caught it as soon as it came up there. So anyway, I got this one right. It was released May 1st, 2009. It is a prequel. It's basically the origin story of Wolverine and how he lost his memory and everything that took place. And it was directed by Mr. James somebody. Did I have his? I thought I did. Maybe I did. Did I?
Whoever directed it really doesn't even matter because it's not like they did anything.
Yeah, it was kind of. It was, man. What's his name? Jesus, I know I got it in here somewhere. Ay. What is his name? It's in here somewhere. Gavin Hood. Gavin Hood. That's who directed it. But anyway, let's get back to it. So May 1st, 2009, it grossed about $373,062,864 worldwide, with a U.S. Gross of $179,883,157, which probably is just breaking even, because honestly, that's 193 international is really not profit because of the profit margins. So of that 193, they probably took back 100 million, you think?
I mean, you got to consider marketing in that aspect of this. You got to, there's so much you have to factor in. Most of the time when you hear what does a movie need to do to break even, most people will say 2 times, but it's more like 2.5 to 3 times more than the budget of the film. Yeah. So, I mean, this made 150 million. It maybe made slightly above profit, maybe slightly below, depending on what their margin, what they really wanted to hit. But it maybe broke even.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So the cast, we got Mr. Hugh Jackman. And let me tell you, I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, I know this one was not great, but all in all, all things considered, Hugh's my guy for Wolverine. I'm really not looking forward to the new Wolverine. Supposedly they're going to have new characters for the X-Men, right?
Right.
I mean, I know the old ones will be there because it'll be multi-dimensional and multi-universes and all that other jazz. But I think the plan is to replace the existing X-Men characters, which I just like Wolverine. So I hope they keep him in some version. You got Ryan Reynolds, who's hilarious. Even in this one, Ryan Reynolds is just born to play Deadpool. Even though this sucked, I think Ryan Reynolds was a bright light in it. You've got Leon Schreiber as Sabretooth. What do we think of him? Just real quick, Dave. Thoughts?
I liked him. I liked him for that character. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen any other iterations or anything, so there's like really no comparison. I liked him. Could they have picked somebody else better? Probably. Nobody comes to mind, but I thought he did. I thought he was good in that role. I think like the movie overall, like it was a cool story. Not probably the best written or anything like that, but I think this was like mainly like a Wolverine fan movie. Like for
Yeah.
people, because like for me, like he was always my favorite X-Men character, like from the beginning and everything. When I used to watch the animated series in the '90s and all that, and yeah, I mean, I think Liev Schreiber, for like their first time out doing that character, I thought he did a good job.
That's fair. We got Jay Black in the chat. Jay Black says, "Sup, T. Will? Hollywood ruined some of the comic book characters. DC Comics has failed miserably." I tend to agree with you, Jay Black. I tend to agree with you. I do. Although I did like Liev Schreiber in this. I love Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds was just born to play Deadpool. Lynn Collins as Silver Fox. I kind of enjoyed her. You know what? I didn't really have an issue with any character portrayals. For me, the issue was the special effects, right? Like the claws just looked like a costume you got at Walmart a day before Halloween. Okay, it wasn't that bad, and maybe it's me. You know, it's been 20 years, and special effects are not what they were then. But I don't know. That was my issue. But as far as the performances, I was okay with it. Jordan, what'd you think of Liev Schreiber and anybody else along this panel jump out to you?
Honestly, if you showed me this cast today, and this movie didn't come out, I'd be like, this is a good cast. Like I was fine. I actually, when I heard Will.i.am was going to be in it, I was like, really? From the Black Eyed Peas? and now, like, I mean, now the Black Eyed Peas are like a footnote in history. I bet you go on the street, ask anyone who's like 18, 17 who the Black Eyed Peas are, they'd be like, I don't know who you're talking about. But like, I thought he did well as John Wraith. Kevin Durand as Blob.
Whatever you do, don't call him the Blob.
Yeah. Like, I thought everybody was casted right. It's just the direction of the characters were completely wrong. Like Liev Schreiber, the one scene that kills me every time I watch this movie is towards the beginning of the movie when Wolverine's walking away. And he's staring straight into the camera. He's like, Jimmy!
Yeah.
Jimmy! Nothing, like, no, like, you could run after him. And be like, yo, man, we need to talk about this. You could be like, Jimmy, wait! No! Jimmy! Every time I watch this, I'm like, why is he just like no emotion? Jimmy! Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. The one thing this movie did right is failing Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, because it led us to get the Deadpool we would get in all of the movies.
Yeah,
because his failure. I mean, in the comics, the reason why Ryan Reynolds got the job as Deadpool is because in a comic iteration, he makes a joke. Deadpool makes a joke saying, something along the lines of, "I look like Ryan Reynolds," and obviously Wade Wilson is a disfigured face.
Yeah, right.
So it's a joke, and Ryan Reynolds found that so funny, and he was like, I would love to be Deadpool. So the original talks for Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool started shortly after Blade Trinity, and which was before this film obviously came out, which is why he was casted as Deadpool in this, because it was going to spin off into a Deadpool movie. The whole X-Men Origins thing, they were going to make an X-Men Origins Cyclops, they were going to make an X-Men Origins Storm, and they kind of sucked with that. There was a bad start when it comes to this movie.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman obviously carries. I mean, this is maybe his worst performance as Wolverine, but it's still a really good performance.
I love Hugh Jackman, man.
He's so great in the role, and a lot of people had issues when he was first cast as Wolverine, and I think I'll talk more about that when we end up getting to X-Men. but he just does such a great job. Danny Hudson as William Stryker just does a great job. Everybody. The one area with the cast I have a huge issue with is the beginning of the movie, where it's the flashback to when they're kids. I think all the kid actors, the parent actors, they all sucked. What's his name? Troye Sivan. The mom is sitting on the floor and looking at him after he just killed his dad. They didn't know it was his dad, and she's like, "Who are you?" I almost want, and every time she says that, I'm like, the Wolverine.
Well, to be fair, I mean, he did just, extract some claws. I mean, it's not like he picked up a knife to kill him. You know what I mean? It's like you just, and think about it. This is clearly in the 1800s, mid 1800s, right? She probably thinks he's the devil. She probably does. She thinks he's a demon. Wait, hold on one second. We got to do some housekeeping. We got Jay Black. Jay Black says Wolverine's lone wolf tendency catches the Indo-European cultural tendency, self-determination, survival. Okay, Jay Black. Hugh is great in the role. His look and great acting is unbeatable. The new Superman will take time to grow on people. Okay, Jay Black. Damn, you sound like you need to be up here on the panel with us. Okay.
It sounds like he has issues with Superman.
Everybody has issues.
But you know what though? I agree with that. Not to spend too much time going back to Superman or anything, but I agree that it's going to take time because all the iterations were a lot different than the one that we just got. So that I agree.
Yeah. And I mean, he was vulnerable. We ain't got to cover that, but you know where I think, Dave, you and I are aligned on that. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't like him. I've just never seen a Superman get his ass whooped like that, man. Like, I mean, again, man, if this were a football season, we'd be 500, Jordan. Okay? Just saying. We might be in the playoffs, but Superman got his ass whooped that entire movie.
No, so, but anyway. I think, but to Jay Black's point, like I do think that the studio had so much confidence in this because they felt like Hugh could carry it, which I think that he did. Like he carried the whole thing. The casting was good. Like Jordan was saying, like if you look at everybody that was in this and all that, but clearly out of everybody, Hugh Jackman is clearly carrying it. And whenever you think of Wolverine, like, I mean, I get the hesitation in the beginning, but once he played that role, like from the very first one on, like that was just who you associated with that character from then on. Like he made it pretty much was like his brand. Like nowadays it's a little bit more difficult for people to be considered like typecast, but I mean, he was pretty much typecast like for that role. Like that's what everybody associated with him. Like people would see him, they'd be like, "Oh, I saw Wolverine today." Like they wouldn't say, "I saw Hugh Jackman." Like a lot of people would say that. So I mean, he's synonymous with that character, and I think he carried this. The writing definitely struggled. Actually, of the casting that they did, the one I probably had the biggest issue with, aside from the bad acting in the beginning. And then they did do that cheesy walk away with the explosion with Hugh Jackman. Like he basically looked like he was looking into the camera. It was like the whole stereotypical like Michael Bay kind of moment when like they do the slow walk away from the explosion kind of thing, like which I just think is just so cheesy because like people
because most of the time they're in the blast radius.
Right.
Understand?
It never makes sense.
Bro, the fire doesn't have to touch you to kill you, right? So for those of you who don't know, whenever a bomb goes off, there's a blast radius, right? Which means there's going to be an impact reverberating from that explosion. And if it goes through you, first and foremost, it's going to liquefy your organs, right? So that's why they're like, if there's a bomb, you need to be out of the blast radius. So somebody just walking out of a building as it explodes, unless you're Wolverine, right? And let's get into that, right? You could make the argument that he should go down because the blast should go through him. Now, he's got a healing factor, so he should heal. but you shouldn't be able to walk away from it, because even if the fire doesn't get you, buddy, that blast radius is going to go through you. Okay? It's real. Just saying. But yeah, okay. You're right. It's cool.
The one actor I do want to point out, because this was supposed to be the start of his run into being like an A-list celebrity, is Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the chosen one of a specific time in the late 2000s or early 2010s, where he was getting cast in all these different movies, and it was always like a mediocre performance, like Battleship. Now, Battleship, I'm gonna be honest, I enjoy watching the movie. There's nothing to it because it's a Michael Bay movie, but I have fun with it. He doesn't do a great job in it. And then there was another movie that was supposed to really take him off. I don't remember what it was called, but he was supposed to be the next guy, and I didn't really care for him as Remy LeBeau. I was just like, this is okay. Especially after this movie came out is when I first started hearing rumors about Channing Tatum wanting to be Gambit. And I mean, I've followed that the entire time. So when I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine, I've never been more shocked to see a character. Actually, no, I was more shocked 10 seconds earlier in that movie when I saw Wesley Snipes as Blade. Because I never thought I'd see Wesley Snipes as Blade and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in the same
movie
room.
Right.
So, So afterwards, seeing like Channing Tatum's version of it, which is a little bit more comic accurate, I understand they were probably trying to go for the look of Gambit, which I think they nailed, but there's some characters that they need a certain accent for them to really nail the character. He needs that New Orleans tang accent.
He does.
It would be like which this almost happened in Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. He was asked to have a British English accent for that movie initially. And him and Ryan Coogler were both like, no. Yeah. And Chadwick Boseman ended up talking with dialect coaches, going to Africa in the specific region that Wakanda would be at, and learning the dialect and how to talk like that. And that's how he got his accent for the movie Black Panther. So I love when actors do that. This is just laziness.
He's a method actor, right? So, because as a matter of fact, they said whenever he was on set, like he never broke character. Even when they went out to dinner afterwards, he was still Black Panther, talking in that accent. So that's interesting. Jay Black says, "What do you guys think of the future of the X-Men, the Uncanny X-Men? Can Hollywood make further movies?" Red Scarlet, Vision, Black Widow, they have tried everything and nothing has caught on. He also says Battleship was good, but of course there will never be a sequel. Hollywood has run Blade into the ground. Netflix or Prime needs to take flavor by starting in the Caribbean. Blah blah blah. Okay, what do we think of? Well, okay, so first and foremost, let's go back to Uncanny X-Men. Are we doing Uncanny X-Men, or what X-Men are they doing? And when is X-Men scheduled to come out anyway?
2027, 2028, somewhere around there. And the director of Thunderbolts is going to be directing it. That's all we really know.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to get anything for that until Secret Wars. I think. In fact, I don't think we're going to get introduced to the new X-Men team until after Secret Wars. I think that whatever X-Men movie we end up getting, that will be when we're introduced to these characters. We may see the new Professor X in Secret Wars or Doomsday. I doubt it's in Doomsday. For me, I think Doomsday is going to be the characters we know now and the X-Men of the 2000s. Then Secret Wars is going to be those guys and anyone else who's ever been in a Marvel movie ever. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, because I don't think Hugh Jackman's Wolverine or Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, I think there's a chance that they're not even in Doomsday. But anyone who Blade, they're all going to be in Secret Wars. I think after that is when we're going to see the new X-Men. I don't know what they're going to do with that. They could start with the Uncanny team. They could go a different route. I don't know. I just hope one thing's for sure: do Cyclops right, because you so far. I mean, when we get to X-Men Apocalypse, I'll talk about how I feel about Cyclops, because I really like the actor who plays him. I didn't think he was written right. I don't think he's ever been written right, and he's supposed to be this leader and this stoic figure to look at, and I just don't think we've gotten that. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with X-Men.
Well, and plus,
I think for the ones that he's talking about, Black Widow, Scarlet, Vision, I think the reason why those didn't do so, I think they were victims of like the pandemic, because like if you look at like Black Widow, I thought was actually a pretty good solo movie for Scarlett Johansson, for the Black Widow character and everything. But it was like right around the pen. In fact, I don't even remember if that had a did that even have a theatrical release?
It did, but the problem, and she sued Disney for this, is that they released the movie at the same time as they released it to DVD.
Oh, right, because there were a lot that were doing that, and that's one I think that suffered from that. I think there's a lot of them, and that I was looking at the list of the X-Men movies, and the New Mutants came out. I think it was like after they like had just started to lift the quarantining like little by little.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't, like, people couldn't sit to capacity.
Right.
I remember getting tickets like to movies and stuff like shortly after, and there had to be like so many seats between
you.
People. I'm not sure if anybody else remembers that, but I sure do. And I looked at the box office numbers for that are just abysmal. Yeah. Not that the New Mutants was a stellar movie, but
it wasn't.
And it really wasn't. But to my point, though, I think that because Black Widow, I thought was a good movie. It was a good movie. I think it suffered from the whole pandemic situation. There was a lot of shows and movies that kind of died around then. And I think that was just one of the victims and one of the casualties and everything. And I think also with like the Vision, I think that started around the same time. I think a lot of like streaming outlets were kind of just like reaching for content so that to bring in as many subscribers as possible, because the movie wasn't coming in through the box office. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think those kind of suffered. I think if you would have released them like around this time, then I think it would be a different story. I think Black Widow would have killed it at theater. I thought that was just such a cool character that they really didn't do a deep dive with until they did that particular movie and everything. But
agreed. I think so. I think her beef was that they did not renegotiate her contract for when they did release it with the streaming, because I think she was getting a piece of whatever the take was, or whatever the take, like it's a heist of whatever the profits were at the gate, and I guess they did not properly renegotiate it. But yeah, they kind of gave her a raw deal. But hey, man, we'll see. All right, so again, we've already gone over what that was. The criticisms of the movie. And there were plenty. X-Men Origins is widely criticized for its poor execution, especially concerning its story, visual effects, and character portrayals. Despite a strong performance by Hugh Jackman, many viewers found the plot confusing and rushed, particularly the handling of Deadpool and other mutants. The film's visual effects and action sequences were also criticized for their quality, especially when compared to other films of the time. Where I would say I agree with this is what's her name? Oh God, I can never think of her name. She can turn into diamonds. She can read minds. What's her name?
Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. Just the way that they treated her, like she's just related to something. Emma Frost will always be at a minute, in my opinion, sort of like an anti-hero, right? Like she's never, to me, she's never a good guy, and I don't think Emma Frost would be caught. You know what I mean? Like some of the villains that were captured, I don't think you would. I just don't see anybody rolling up on Emma Frost, who can read minds, by the way. That's her most powerful gift. She's a telepath. I don't see anybody just rolling up on her and expect Sabretooth? No. Right? So that was kind of like, that was my issue, is that certain characters, I just don't see you capturing them. Even with Scott Summers, you better get him young. Like even with him being in high school, that is still, Scott Summers is a powerful mutant, right? So if you'd have got him in elementary school, okay. I think that, and I'm not saying Sabretooth wouldn't have gotten him, but he would have suffered. Like, that would have been a good fight, in my opinion. Guys, give me your thoughts. That's again, the special effects, it did leave some to be desired. But for me, my main issue with the plot is they had a litany of characters in there, and some of those characters would not have been captured by just Sabretooth. He would have needed some help. Give me your thoughts on that, guys.
Well, all right. I'm going to say something about the visual effects. So I know someone who worked on this movie. I have a friend, and their dad was part of the visual effects team on this movie. Now, they only did one scene. That scene they did the visual effects for was the helicopter scene. And when we're looking at the helicopter scene from a visual effects standpoint, it's pretty cool.
I love the helicopter scene.
The from a visual effects standpoint,
yeah, I loved it.
And that's the thing. Like, so he didn't have any choice of like what Hugh Jackman was going to be doing and like what the context of the scene was. His job was just to do the visual effects. And I was like, all right. And when I first told him, he's like, oh yeah, my dad worked on X-Men Origins Wolverine. I was like, oh. He's like, oh, he only worked on, and he's like, yeah, it sucked. Now his dad also worked on.
You did not say oh like that. You did not do that.
Yeah,
that's so rude, Jordan. I cannot believe you did. Oh.
Well, all right, because he also followed that up by saying he also worked on movies like Avengers Endgame.
Okay, all right.
So the final battle specifically.
Good
so,
save. Good save.
So, then he's worked on a ton of other movies. It was always fun talking with him. But, yeah, I mean, the one area of this movie that really lacks is the visual effects. I mean, there are some scenes where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. The claws thing, the one area I just have an issue with it, but I think we all have issues with the CGI claws.
Yeah.
But I think it was just a test run for them. I think they wanted to see if it would work or not.
Yeah.
And because they figured it would be easier to do that than doing what they've done in previous movies with the like him like holding fake claws in between his knuckles and stuff like that. They figured it would probably be easier. And it looks very cartoonish. It just doesn't work. And I mean, that was the test run when it came to this movie. I also saw this movie 2 months before it came out. So it came out in like May, I think. I saw it in March because there was a leak of this movie and I think like 1 million downloads were made. And I got to see the movie 2 months early. Now, the editing of this movie was not completely finished. So obviously the movie wasn't completely done, but when it came to like the writing, the storytelling, everything else was done except for the visual effects when it came to this movie. And even watching it then, I was just like, this movie sucks. This was one of the first movies where I watched it and I'm just like, why is this bad? Like, I was 8 years old when this movie came out, and I was like, why is this movie so bad? So yeah, visual effects. I guess I'll get defensive of that because I know someone who worked on it, but because he worked on the only good part of the movie when it came to visual effects. But yeah, and then the rest of the movie, just storytelling kind of sucks.
George said, "Oh."
I did. And I remember the look on his face. He was like, yeah. Yeah. like his dad probably also knows that the movie sucked, but it's just his job. It's his job. So
Right.
yeah.
What if Jordan was at dinner at their house and dude's like, yeah, my dad worked on Wolverine, and Jordan's like, oh my God. Pass the stuffing. Oh, do you see that? Oh my God. Hey, let's talk about. So it sounds like they're calling the relationship between Wolverine and Silver Fox a plot device. Do you guys? They didn't come out and say it, but that's kind of what they're saying. Do you guys agree with that? You feel like this was just like a plot device in the story to move it along, or do you think? Do you disagree with that? Give me your thoughts.
I think that this ties in with the whole, like, because when you talk about the pacing of the story, it was definitely rushed, and it was like they did kind of use her as like a vehicle. Like, well, we need to get from here to here, and then we'll add this, and then maybe like that'll attract maybe female audiences because now we have like a romantic element involved. But I feel she was kind of like a vehicle, and this was definitely rushed. Like they could have made this like a 2-part kind of thing with him, and I think with the fan base he has, I think it probably would have worked better that way, and they could have slowly. And then getting back to the character portrayals, Gambit is the one I had the biggest problem with out of the whole. I think I started to say that earlier, but he was the one I had the biggest problem with, actually. And I never heard about, I didn't know like the whole backstory about he was supposed to be like the next big thing or all that. The one thing I did see him in that he was amazing in was when he played David Koresh. There was this, it was a Waco series that Showtime had done, and he did amazing in that role. I hadn't really seen him in much aside from this, and I think they had that character all wrong. Like the look, the talk, everything was all wrong. When I heard that Gambit was going to be in this movie, I thought that was cool because he was another one of my my favorites. I've liked Wolverine since I was little, and Gambit and Nightcrawler have basically been my favorites, and they really missed the boat with the Gambit character in this one. So I can see why that didn't lead to anything else, but with Silver Fox, that was a little confusing because it's like, I don't really know like a lot of the comic book backstories with these characters, but I had no idea what the hell, like the part she played. And it did feel like she was kind of like the vehicle. Like they had to have a reason for him to do this. So like, let's just create this love interest is what it felt like to me. I don't know if that was actually a thing in the comic book lore or anything like that, but that's what it felt like to me. She was just, well, we need to move this along, so we're going to use her, and she's going to get him from here to there because that's where we need the story to go, is what it kind of felt like.
Jordan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, when I was rewatching it, now when I watch one of these Marvel movies, like and I've watched it so many times, like I've watched this movie so many times, even though it's not that great. it's just automatically I'll remember everything. I didn't have to rewatch it for this rewatch to like talk about it, but when I rewatched it on Wednesday night, I was on my phone and then movie was over like that, and I'm like, wait, how long in this is this movie? And I checked, it was like what, an hour 45, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Like it's super quick, and they get through everything really fast, and they go like you don't have time to care for any of these characters. You care about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. You care about him because you've seen him in other things.
Right.
Sabretooth, there's a different actor from the ones from the X-Men trilogy. Well, really the first X-Men movie. So you're like more introduced to him. I guess you care a little bit about him because you realize that X-Men, that Wolverine and him are brothers. But you don't have time to care for any of these actors or any of these characters. And so it felt like I was starting to care for this Silver Fox. And like, I really liked some of the dialogue that they had between her and Wolverine. Like, I was like, okay, I was like, this is something that we had not seen in Logan or Jimmy, whatever you want to call him. I'll call him Logan. We haven't seen him really care for anyone outside of Jean Grey. So this was something new, and you're like, oh, you were interested, but you didn't really know, like, you were more interested about the relationship than the actual character itself of Silver Fox. So when she dies, it's like, like what? Like, all right, that felt rushed. And this is the worst acting from Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in any movie, was this specific scene where he's saying, it sounds like, remember at the end of Revenge of the Sith when Darth Vader says no? Basically the same exact thing. He's just like, no. I'm just like, all right, buddy. You could have just, if you did a scream, like a primal scream, and cried, you would have been like, that would have been a little bit more impactful. But I didn't feel any emotions towards this at all, and we'll get into like the whole backstory behind her death later on.
I just want to know what happened with Wolverine's mom, man. It was the 18 middle hundreds. Like, was she getting a freak on? Like, was she married? Like, you know, did she, like, there was no development in it. We know nothing.
Yeah, there was no build.
We just know his drunk dad showed up and killed her husband, who seemed like a loving and kind father, right? And that was it. And then Wolverine just killed him, and he was like, I'm your dad.
It was like, if you compare this, because this is a total origin story. Like, if you compare this to like the Batman trilogy, so they didn't have everybody in the first one. A lot of it was developing that character and the people around him, and that was the majority of the movie. And then you had Scarecrow, who was like the one additional comic book character that you were introduced to. Well, I mean, there was like a few others that you were introduced to along the way, but I mean, that was it. So I mean, but with this one, it's like, it was like going to a fireworks show and they just started off with the finale. It's like you go and watch fireworks and stuff, and there's like a build, and then they'll do like a couple at a time. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And then it just builds and builds and builds, and then like they hit you with everything. And it's like, oh yeah, this is really cool. But it was like they just hit you with the finale, and then and that was it. Show's over. That was it. That's it. We're done. Time to go home. But yeah, there was no build to anything. It was cool for Wolverine fans, and really they were riding the wave. I was looking at the numbers from the X-Men movies, like in the box office order. Their sequels had a lot of success. Usually when you have like movies and their sequels, usually the originals do better business than the sequels do. Well, at least conventionally. But in this case, like a lot of this, so it's like they were basically riding the wave of the
Right.
success of the movies. And it's
Right.
like, and let's just throw all these characters in there and people are going to love that shit. And then that was it. we don't need to, we don't need to focus on the story or building to anything. And that's what this kind of was.
I tell you what was disappointing to me. Wolverine has this line that he says in the comics, and I don't know that I've ever heard him say it, but if you heard it, that meant your ass. And that was, there are two things for certain in this life, bub: death and taxes. And this ain't taxes. If you ever heard that, that's a classic line, and I've never seen it's like the things, it's clobbering time. Now, X-Men was an adult comic. It was not for kids. I think we can acknowledge that. But I just think it would be great for them. Like, you have to say that line. He says that over and over again. Like, I that's something I'd like to see. Because we've seen him kill people, okay? But it's like, I guess they don't want to glorify it. But let me tell you something. If you ever hear that line, and he doesn't do it all the time, but if you ever hear that line and those claws extract, give your soul to Jesus, because your ass belongs to Wolverine. That's all I'm gonna say.
Secret Wars. We'll get in Secret Wars probably.
I hope so.
We'll probably get everything in Secret Wars. That movie's gonna be 3 hours long. The one scene that I always find really cool about this movie is the montage at the beginning of the movie where where him and Sabretooth are going through all the wars.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That
and
cool.
I would have loved to have explored those.
Yeah,
that is cool.
That would have been awesome.
That is cool. That is, and let me tell you something. I just like their fighting style, watching them fight back to back. I thought that was really cool. I'll tell you what else was really cool is that Logan and Sabretooth fight 3 times in this movie. And every time they fight, Logan takes something from the previous fight that he learned. Like in the first one, Sabretooth rushes him and whoops his ass. Oh my, he got his ass whooped like Superman. But anyway, he had an excuse. He had, okay, too soon? Too soon. Okay. Sorry, Jordan. You know Jordan loves this new Superman. I'm not trying to pitch off Jordan.
I don't care. I actually, what I haven't said, I only told you, Terry, off camera. So I initially gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Right.
But as the days have gone on, I've just thought more negatively about the movie, and so I brought it down to an 8 out of 10. I think it's a good movie, but I think it's very flawed.
Well, trust me, this movie has no chance of getting an 8 out of 10. Okay. I don't. Anyway, that's all.
Maybe.
So, and like the first time they fight, and I love the fact that Sabretooth would like crawl and run. Like, that was authentic. I love that. But the first time Sabretooth rushes him and pops him over and flips him, and then in the second fight, Wolverine jumps over him, right? And so he learned from the first time, and then the third time Wolverine just whoops his ass. So I thought that was kind of cool, because Wolverine is a very prodigious fighter, extremely. So in other words, he's learning, right? In other words, it's like Dave. Think of it. Dave's a boxer. You can't come out. If I fight you the first time, I can't come out with the same strategy. I got to have some new tricks. Does that make sense? And that's Wolverine. I really like that. Overall impression, the movie is often cited as a disappointment, especially considering the potential of the source material. Some viewers found the film so bad it became unintentionally humorous, while others felt it was simply a waste of time. Despite the criticism, Hugh Jackman's performance as Wolverine was generally praised. The movie did have some memorable action sequences, and the video game adaptation was generally well received. And I think that's true, and we've covered that, so we don't have to spend time there. Overview. We got the release date. We know who it is. Prequel setting is set before the original X-Men films. What year is this set in, Jordan? Is this the 70s or late 60s? I think this is the 70s, right? This is after Vietnam.
let's go to my MCU watch order. So,
Let's
all right.
do it.
All right, so technically the beginning of the film takes place in the 1800s, which is the earliest we've seen any Marvel movie, including except for Eternals.
Yeah.
Eternals goes the furthest back.
Yeah.
So this movie takes place in 1979.
Okay. I can dig it. My brother was born. That my baby brother was born. That was a good year. T. Will was 9. Well, I was 8 most of the year because I'm born in November like Jordan, but then I turned 9. So 79 was a good year. I'm trying to think who won the Super Bowl in 79. Was it the Steelers?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go T. Will.
I was
you know what?
negative 21.
Yes, you were. I used to be able to tell you who the Super Bowl champion was going back to 1970. I can't do that shit no more, but I used to be able to. I was pretty good at that. I know you will, Jordan, because you're just that dude. All right, let's get into the plot summary. So Wolverine delves into the backstory of James Logan. Blah 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 blah. Story begins in 1845. Young James Howlett witnessing his father's murder. The event triggers his mutant powers, causing bone claws to emerge from his knuckles, and he accidentally kills his biological father, Thomas Logan. James and Victor, Thomas' other son, who also possess mutant abilities, flee together. They spend the next century fighting side by side in various wars, including the American Civil War, World War I and II, and the Vietnam War. They don't mention the Korean War. What happened there? Thanks to their shared healing factor and immortality, during the Vietnam War, their violent tendencies lead to their court-martial, but they survive and are recruited by Colonel William Stryker for a special mutant Black Ops team as Team X. Disgusted by the team's willingness to harm innocent people, Logan leaves Team X and attempts to live a peaceful life as a logger in Canada with his girlfriend, Kayla Silver Fox. However, Stryker returns and informs Logan that members of Team X are being hunted and killed when Victor appears to murder Kayla. Logan's desire for revenge compels him to join Stryker's Weapon X program. So a couple of things, couple scenes that I like. I really liked all the fight scenes. I thought they were cool. Even when Deadpool goes in and does his thing with the swords, like, I thought that was cool. I really like that. I like that the Blob, I don't know what the hell his name was before that, stuck his arm in that cannon and blew that thing up. That was cool. That was kind of cool. What kind of, like the dude with the guns, why is it that when they shoot at him, they only shoot at his feet? Like he's running and they're literally shooting machine guns, but they're only at his feet? Like, that was like a G.I. Joe moment. Jordan, you probably don't realize this. Dave, you might remember. But remember with G.I. Joe, the cartoon, nobody ever died? Like, they fired a million bullets. Nobody died. Ever. Ever. Every episode, nobody died. Just saying. But I really liked the fight sequence. I really liked when they were on the plane getting ready to land and just Sabretooth and Deadpool kind of going at it. Like, that was kind of fun. You know what I mean? Because, you know, Sabretooth just wants to kill. He just wants a reason to kill. I don't know why. He's so broken inside. He just wants to kill, right? So they're just talking trash. And, you know, Deadpool got a smart mouth. So, you know, he's whatever. And Logan's like, Victor. You know what I mean? Logan's like the dad of the Victor. Even though he's the younger brother, Victor, come on, right? And I'm saying to myself, watching, oh, they're about to get it in, like, and I wanted to see it. I thought it would have been cool. And yeah, they land and stuff goes sideways. And of course, there's the scene that Jordan referenced. Jimmy, come back, Jimmy, come back,
Jimmy.
See, everything you mentioned up until like going through the wars and stuff, when he meets her, they could have done a whole movie just like up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And like really develop that. And that could have been the story in the first one, the rivalry with him. Because obviously like they went on different moral paths. Once they got past when was it, like the Vietnam War or whatever, they could have done an entire movie up until that point and everything. And they could have expanded on their relationship going back and forth. They could have expanded on him meeting, Silver Fox or whoever. Yeah, Kayla. They could have expanded on that. They could have developed her character more and everything. So that way, by the time you introduced everybody else, you would have been invested in these people and everything. And then they would have carried the other ones that they brought in. I think that's ideally how they should have done it. But, they hammered home every single character they could possibly fit into the budget and just rushed the heck out of it is what happened. But like everything that we just talked about up to that point, I think that could have been a really cool movie because they did that somewhat with Wonder Woman, where she was in World War II, or was it it was the first one. It was the first World War. So, and again, origin story. And that was the whole movie. Like up until World War I was over, that was the whole movie. You had one other villain character that they had. Technically two, if you count Dr. Poison and all that. But they could have done the same exact thing with Wolverine. Sabretooth obviously would have been the main villain. They could have, with Stryker's team, they could have possibly introduced some of that by the end of the first one. But I think you would have had a good origin movie just doing that. Obviously Hugh Jackman carried it. But if they would have done just more development into him and Victor's relationship and then him meeting Silver Fox and all that, I think would have made for a great movie, even without, the other 20 characters that they stuck into this one.
Here's another tidbit about this movie. So around the same time was when Marvel was planning the first phase for the MCU. So Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. They were originally going to tie this movie in with Captain America and have Captain America in the background of World War II.
World War II, yeah.
Because at that same time, Captain America: The First Avenger was coming out, so which would have been really interesting. They could have reworked the whole the X-Men. They could have soft rebooted the X-Men universe and introduced us to the Avengers, which is why at the beginning of the end credit scene of the first Iron Man movie, when Samuel L. Jackson comes in, the deleted scene of that was Samuel L. Jackson talking about mutants and web slingers or radioactive bugs and stuff like that, hinting at Spider-Man, hinting at the X-Men. So this movie was going to go that way, but Kevin Feige said no. And I'm glad he did.
Yeah, those people at Fox just don't know how to do a Marvel movie. And no, all respect due to Spider-Man, but
yeah, they may as well be working at Warner's.
Yeah. I told you he was funny.
And you know what though, because we were talking earlier about do we think more movies will. Here's one thing that I thought, and I'm a DC guy. I'll be honest. I'm primarily DC. I just gravitated toward Superman and Batman ever since I was younger. But in my honest opinion, and this is what I think about both Marvel and DC, I think that DC has better TV shows by far, and I think that Marvel has better movies by far.
Yeah.
That's my honest opinion. I wish it was the other way around, but. I just think that if you look at some of the shows, Jordan, I know you haven't seen Smallville, but a lot of the shows that followed after that, and they followed the same formula, but they had a lot of success and they had long runs. So DC does it all day long in TV shows. Movies, not so much.
And DC does great animation. About 5 years ago, they did great animation. There's a whole Batman series with his son. There's a movie called War. There's a 10-year period where they were nailing it. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. But yeah, that's and I totally agree with that. Their animation's pretty good, but that's where I think the biggest difference is. And I know that DC's trying to do the whole new thing or whatever. And again, I'm just a Superman guy, so yeah, I mean, more stories, that's fine by me. Like, I'm cool with that, and I'll probably watch every one of them. Marvel though, like, yeah, I think they just got it figured out with the movies. This though is one of the one of the exceptions. I think that with comic book movies in general, it gets to a point where there was a time, and I don't know that time is still going on, but there was a time where like they were the most successful things in theaters, like hands down. I think it's starting to shift, and I think the reason for that is I think that people making these movies are starting to get overconfident and thinking that just because the characters are in it, that it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think this is a prime example of that, because this came after that original trilogy. And if you look at a lot of the other ones, of course, the sequels in that original, well, not even trilogy. I think there was more in those original releases, but they were more successful than the originals. But then when they started doing the reboots and the new ones and everything, I mean, it was cool, but they didn't have anywhere near the success. And again, I think that's just because a lot of studios are just phoning it in, and they're like, "Oh, people are eating this up now. Let's just make more of these movies." And again, this is like a prime example of that. Whereas if you just like go back to what got you there, which was telling a good initial story, like the very first X-Men movie, there was a lot more development in that. And yeah, I mean, they did use a handful of characters right away. Like, you're not getting an origin over like any one person, but they developed them throughout that movie. And you were more invested in that handful of people within that movie. And then, getting into stuff like this, they're just phoning it in. They're like, well, we know people love these characters. Then they haven't seen this one yet, and they haven't seen this one yet. But that's not, there's no psychology behind that. And I don't care who you are, like, in what people think of certain fan bases, but like, there's a level of psychology that you have to put with it. And this one and many others they just have zero, like, hardly any storytelling. Like, write a script and then, oh, it'll be great, and we'll do this, and we'll do, CGI clause, it'll be fantastic. Nobody's ever done it because it sucks. That's why nobody's done it, because it sucks.
Yeah.
And now they see it, unfortunately.
And Marvel has a reputation. A lot of times they don't even have a script. They just go ahead and I don't know. I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious. Because this came up in some vlog I was watching on YouTube, where they were saying that a lot of times Marvel will just go ahead and shoot scenes and start CGI stuff and write the script after they've done that. And that's, that to your point, they got so used to winning that they just kept that approach, and it has impacted several of their shows and programs and movies and the like. So you're absolutely right, Dave. And it's unfortunate. Look, at the end of the day, it's a movie for a reason. There's a process for a reason. Need to follow it. Logan undergoes a painful procedure where his skeleton is bonded with the indestructible metal adamantium, making him virtually invulnerable. However, Logan overhears Stryker's plan to erase his memory after the procedure and escapes, seeking out former Team X members who revealed that Victor is working with Stryker. So I kind of want to call you guys' attention to something, because Logan, up to this point, now one thing we know about Logan's character, Logan is not, Wolverine is not quick to follow anybody. Okay? He to a certain extent will always be somewhat of a rebel, and I believe this is the beginning of this. In my humble opinion, because to this point, he's pretty much, okay, go with he may not like it. Like, obviously when they started killing people, he walked away, but that's an extreme situation. For the most part, he's pretty much been, I'm going to go ahead and go with the flow. But this to me is where he's like, no. And it to me, it kind of plants the seed of him being a natural dissenter going forward, because there are many times, not just over Jean Grey, but there are many times where Scott and Wolverine have almost come to blows because Wolverine is just about that. He's just not. He respects Charles Xavier. The relationship with Scott has always been kind of rocky, you know what I mean? Because Scott's the, hey, let's go, kind of. And Wolverine is the bad boy, all right? And Gene's kind of in between the two, right? To me, this is where this starts. Jordan, give me your thoughts on that. Agree, disagree? Give me your thoughts.
I think that's an interesting take. I never really thought about it. I mean, it is possible that I think maybe his trust in people, his lack of trust in people began this scene, because if we look at any iteration after this of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, he's just if someone said, "Hey, we want you to undergo this procedure," he'd be like, "No, we're not doing that."
Hey, case in point, X-Men First Class, where they, hey, we're fuck off. Like literally, that's what he says. Fuck off. That conversation is so quick. They're like, well, okay, we're gonna go. I'm sorry, Jordan. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. You made me
well, I will say, First Class does take place before this, so that's just
you're right.
Yeah. That's maybe just him being him. That's just him being him. He's like, nope.
I just disproved my own theory. You're because he straight up said "fuck off." Like that was so quick. But I wonder. Never mind. Because I'm thinking, what did he go back in time? Because he looked a little older then. Well,
because the movie came out later. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Later, you're right. Yeah. I'm reaching. Okay, sorry.
But this whole scene of him getting the adamantium is just so cool.
Oh yeah.
It is, and like that was what they finished every single trailer with, was him like coming out with the claws, and it's so awesome. There's two scenes in this whole movie that are awesome to me, and it's this scene right here, and when Ryan Reynolds splits the bullet. And
yes,
goes,
yes,
I sick.
Yes,
and I want Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool to make a joke about it at some point in any movie. I mean, he does the whole sword like waving thing to dodge bullets in Deadpool 2, but and he ends up getting shot a bunch of times, which is the joke. But I want him to do it one time. Just split a bullet. That would be like in Secret Wars. Everybody's doing their own thing. I want someone to shoot a bullet and it splits. But yeah, this whole scene is just so awesome. If I were to redo this whole movie, I'm keeping this whole scene intact, especially the fact that he can hear Stryker say wipe his memory. And that's when it flips.
Question for you: does he have super hearing? Because I wasn't aware of that.
He kind of does. He is.
Well, he's a wolf, I guess, and animals have. Okay, that makes sense.
He is super. He has super strong senses. Like he can hear really well. He can smell really well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That is fair. So I mean, to me, this was kind of the turning point in his movie. Because he's like, oh, and you're right. Let me tell you something. The fight sequences to me were the best thing about this movie. This one, because when he cuts those things and emerges from that water, I was like, let's go. When he jumps off of that tank or whatever that he's onto that helicopter, I was like, oh shit, because I hadn't seen the movie in like 15 years. I was like, this might actually be something. And they proved me wrong, but still, that the action scenes were great, dude. And I tell you what else. Before he splits the bullet, he sees the guy in the reflection of the sword, and then turns around and cuts it in half. And then the next one, he flips it or something, and it deflects off the other guy. then jumps into the air, does a pirouette. It's like that was totally unrealistic, but that was cool. That was really cool. Like I love that scene, man. That was pretty awesome. Guided by the mutant Gambit, Logan travels to Stryker's remote island laboratory where he discovers Kayla is alive. Well, okay, so we need to take a step back here. Because when he meets Gambit, he's at this whatever location that the Blob told him about. But there's a fight, right, that goes down between Wolverine and Sabretooth.
Gambit.
And it was
Sabretooth.
yeah. Gambit kind of whooped his ass, but I think Wolverine kind of let him have it because he didn't consider him a bad guy. Because I think Wolverine would whoop his ass. That's just me personally. Whatever. I mean, I like Gambit. Gambit's cool. Gambit can charge his cards and whatever energy but Wolverine would whoop his ass. That's just my thoughts. But there is a and who's the guy that teleports? What was his name? Will.i.am's character?
Yeah, I just call him Will.i.am.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't have to do him like that, man. What a way to go. Like he grabbed his that was savage.
It doesn't make sense either. Like him teleporting and then he grabs the perfect spot to where his skeleton forms and then his skin and then his organs, then his skin, and he perfectly times it to grab his spot. It doesn't make sense. Well, I don't understand. It's cool. Don't get me wrong.
It goes along with his animal senses, though. It's like you say, Sabretooth and Wolverine probably have heightened senses. Senses, T-Will. So he probably could smell him there before he saw him, right?
I don't blame Saber. I think if Sabretooth could do that to someone theoretically because of his senses, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more thinking about Will.i.am's character's powers and that his skeleton shows up first.
Right.
Right. That I'm confused. How does his teleportation work exactly? Yeah, I thought he goes into a puff of smoke and stuff like that. I don't know. It's confusing.
Maybe he had been drinking. I don't know. Maybe his powers were. I don't know. But what a way to go. But anyway, in that conflict, specifically, Sabretooth comes at Wolverine in the same way, Mike. Now, Sabretooth did not change his tactics. That's something else I noticed about him. You would think he would change it up a little bit. He didn't. He goes straight at Wolverine, and Wolverine adjusts, okay, and they get after it, and it was pretty cool. You know what I mean? I would say round 2 was a draw. Dave, you're the fighter of the bunch. Round 2, how would you rate it, sir?
Yeah, it was about even, but I think it's more because when you have a good guy, bad guy character, the bad guy character is always the overconfident, arrogant one. So yeah, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the same tactics because I'm better than you, so I'm just going to be able to do the same thing and just smash you. And whereas the good guy character is always going to be the one who's got to kind of overcome or outsmart and that kind of thing. So they did a good job with that, the adaptation with the conflict with the two of them. But again, like we've been talking about, you could have just done a whole movie based around that as opposed to rushing the shit out of this one and putting some characters in it.
3 movies in one in an hour and 45 minutes is what they did.
If Snyder did this, it would be 5 movies, at least 5 movies.
It would be 5 hours. But it would be great. It would be great, but it would be 5. You just couldn't go anywhere.
I mean, even this one, if they would have done a 4-hour stretch with this one, it would have made it a lot better. But it just no build. But yeah, the conflict though, that was one of, I guess, the shinier moments as they kind of built towards the end as far as who came out on top and everything. And because anytime you have a good guy or babyface character, it should always be like that. Because the movie's about the climb. It's like that with professional wrestling. You have the bad guy gets the better of him for all this time and everything, and then the payoffs at the end of the movie. He gets them at the end and everything. So, but yeah, I think the second time around was a little bit more even. But then of course there were other outside factors. So then it kind of leaves it up in the air. So as far as that conflict goes, like that was kind of written well. As far as like the build up towards, you know, the like the third one, the trilogy fight, I guess you could say that they
The
had by the end
trilogy.
of it. But,
The Thriller in
yeah.
Manila.
Which in fact about that, so I've watched this movie I don't know how many times, not always on purpose, but at the very end when they do the hidden scene, secret ending, whatever. To this day, I have not known about that damn scene with Deadpool until I rewatched it earlier this week. I had no idea about that. When he like at the end and he's like going through the rubble and
Oh, it gets his head. Yeah.
yeah, I know we haven't got to that part yet, but
I'm sorry.
yeah.
So bad host. Bad host, he will. Bad. Yeah, man. That's the fight scenes were really good. Which is sad because it means the other scenes just suck so bad because the fight scenes were really great. Like, I gotta be honest. The scene with Gambit where he's throwing the cards, totally cool. Totally on brand with Gambit, right? You know, where he's flicking them. Like, I enjoyed that. I do think that what's his name that you were talking about earlier, Jordan, is better.
Channing Tatum.
Thank you, that dude. I think he's just better, but I did enjoy that particular scene. I did enjoy that. And of course, Wolverine is on the Who ride because you know, hey man, he in his mind, Sabretooth kills his girl, so he's on the Who ride. So he's got to go. So he goes to the island. Now, one thing to me that I think was missing from this. Shit. Wait, let's go back to this. Okay. One thing for me that was missing is in every comic that I read from the X-Men, and you got to understand, guys, I grew up in the 80s. So, and I was a nerd. So, I read X-Men a lot. A lot. So, one thing that kind of jumps off the comic is Stryker's hatred for mutants. And they really don't write him. He's very deceitful, right? But you don't feel the hate. The hate is not palpable. It's not tangible. You can't feel it coming off this guy, right? He's trying to build the ultimate weapon. Now, obviously, he has his own motives. And I get it, and they reveal that. But in every iteration of Stryker, I don't know who hates mutants more, Stryker or Foy, which is freedom, whatever. I don't know what their acronym stands for. But I really didn't feel that hate coming off him. Not that he didn't have it. He wasn't written that way to where it's like, let's go back to Superman for the 115th time. You feel hate coming off Lex Luthor. You feel it. You feel it for all metahumans, right? In Marvel, mutants, DC metahumans. But you feel his hatred from the get. You feel his hatred. That's what I would imagine from William Stryker because he hates mutants. Okay? Guys, give me your thoughts. Am I wrong here? Am I looking at it like? Give me your thoughts on that, Jordan. Let's start with you. Did you feel hate coming off him?
I mean, has any Stryker? Have you felt that hate from any Stryker character in any of the Marvel movies? Except for one. No. Any Marvel movie. Have you seen any version of Stryker where he's hating movies? I don't think that the Marvel movies have necessarily done him correctly. He should hate mutants. And instead all the X-Men movies portray him as using mutants to destroy other mutants.
Which he does. But he
does.
Them. But
he only does it for him to gain something, not necessarily his hatred towards them. And so I think that's them just not doing the character all that right. Like I don't even if I don't even know if they'll introduce Stryker into the MCU after Secret Wars. I mean, I just don't. I think we're gonna see Sinister, Mr.
Sinister, yeah.
Mr. Sinister. I think we're gonna see him in the first movie, or he might be a prolonged villain. And I don't think we're gonna see Stryker. I don't think he's been in too many of the movies. He's brought up too much in the movies.
Yeah.
And he's just not a good villain, and I just don't know how to do him right.
Mr. Sinister scares the shit out of me.
He's awesome.
He is, but he scares it's two villains in Marvel that scare the shit out of me, and that's Galactus, because he's just a massive dude. Like, what are you gonna do against Galactus? You know what I mean? If Galactus showed up tomorrow, right, in Georgia, what are you gonna? Nothing. You know what you're gonna do? You got two things: nothing and like it, because you're not gonna stop him. He's freaking Galactus. He's huge. He eats planets, right? He scares the shit out of me. But Mr. Sinister, and it goes. Remember the X-Men, not 97, but the X-Men animated series? The way they did him scared the shit out of me. Like, he scares me. Like, okay, it's not Final Destination. I'm not going to take a bath for 2 weeks scared. But I would not mess with him. Like, I want no part. Like, again, Thanos. I mean, okay, if he doesn't have whatever, Thanos. I'm not, he probably would kill me, but I'm not afraid. Right? You get what I'm saying? I'm not afraid.
He might kill me, but it's okay.
Thanos is probably going to kill me. I can admit that. But Sinister, I don't want, because he's just creepy, and he creates mutants for sport, right? It's like Stryker weaponizes stuff, but it's a means to an end with him, but he hates mutants. Sinister is just like, what shit can I come up with today? Oh, I know. I'll just make somebody that kills with the touch. Oh, okay, let's add this. Let's do that. Like, he's just an evil genius. He creeps the shit out of me, man. Question to you guys. In the Marvel Universe, give me two villains that just creep you the hell out. Dave, let's start with you. You're a fighter. It's going to be interesting.
I don't know that. I mean, there's some that I like, but creep me out now. Like, I've always liked Magneto. Just a classic one, and just one of my favorite. I don't know that there's any that creep me out. Like Final Destination would do. I don't know.
What about in DC? Any that creep you out in DC?
DC, none that creep me out. Again, I have favorites. I don't really, you get shot at and stuff, and things tend not to creep you out and scare you. Like others, I guess. Maybe that's what it is. But I mean, no. I mean, there's cool ones. Like, I've always liked the Dark Side and that kind of thing, which I thought was really cool that Snyder finally told that story in his cut. And they did a little bit with him in the Smallville series too. But I think that's the most anybody did with him was in the Snyder cut. But yeah, so there's a few that I like and everything. But I creep me out or anything like that. Like Thanos, I thought was a pretty badass villain. I thought he was really calm, cool, collected, and this is just gonna happen.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's inevitable.
Right. Yeah. It was just stating a fact.
Like, he didn't again, I probably would die, but he didn't scare me, right? Sinister he's just fucking creepy. Excuse me. He's just creepy, man. He's freaking creepy. Like, no, I don't know what it is to his voice, right? Just, have you ever seen him in the animated series? Mm-hmm. The way they did his voice was perfect. Oh God. And you know what's funny? In the comics, I hate to use this word, but I'm gonna have to use it. He's kind of sassy in the comics.
sassy. Oh, he's sassy. He's getting his nails
That
done.
sounds
He's
so
sassy.
badass.
Kind of sassy, right? But in the
We're going to the mall.
Almost.
We're gonna get our nails done.
Badass
We're
villains
getting our
are sassy.
pedicure. We're gonna be sassy today.
he's kind of sassy.
And no, that is not what the kids
series,
say. Yeah.
In the animated series,
The
man,
kids don't say that either too well.
he scares the shit out of me, dude. Anyway, whatever, guys. Okay, he is. He's kind of.
I really like that villain. He's got sass.
He is though. He's kind of sassy. He is. I know. Oh goodness. So let's talk about. I mean, obviously Wolverine shows up, and the final conflict ensues, and he finds out about the whole plot. Whatever, goes and frees the mutants. They rush to get Deadpool ready, and it's on, and Deadpool and Wolverine go at it, and Deadpool is kicking Wolverine's hiney, and all of a sudden, Big Brother shows up and says, "Nobody kills you but me," which was kind of corny. I gotta admit, that was cheesy. That was
Transformers did that.
That was cheesy.
Megatron said to Optimus is like only it's when he killed Sentinel, like that's what he wanted. He wanted to be the one to kill Optimus, and that's how it led to the fight in Dark of the Moon, which I love that movie.
but I think maybe it's the way he said it, right? But just in it, like that line was so corny, like nobody. Like it was just.
It's almost as bad as Jimmy.
It was
Jimmy.
Man, it's like 2-day-old pizza that's been on your counter. That you know what I mean. You're hungry, but damn, like it's a choice, bro. Because you warm it up, that's gonna be hard as a brick. Like that's just, ooh, boy. I don't know, man. I don't know. But anyway, they show up and they get after it. And of course, Wolverine decapitates Deadpool. Whatever. He goes to Silver Fox and she's in the process of dying. And he's like, hold on. And of course, Stryker comes out with the gun that was given to him a few minutes prior that he said, if you shoot him with this, these are adamantium bullets. Now that felt like a plot device. Okay. That felt like a plot device. I'm just saying. Ron says, damn, what did Ron say? Ron says something about my hairline. What up, Ronnie Thomas?
He said no hair. He said no hairline.
What up, Ronnie Thomas? Ronnie Thomas, how are you doing, man? Hopefully all is well. I talked to that dude yesterday, man. Ronnie Thomas is he's all right. But whatever, Ronnie. Whatever.
He's got that what we used to call that.
I can't say what I want to say on the show, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Ron and I we used to crack on each other. Ron and I used to do a show together. We used to crack on each other a lot. Anyway. What the hell are we talking about? Yeah. So it just felt like a plot device with that gun. You know what I mean? And of course, he comes out and fires the bullet and ping. And all of a sudden, Wolverine doesn't remember. But let me ask you this. I mean, it's metal on metal. I don't think it did it protrude into his skull? I don't think it did it? Like, why would he lose his memory?
This was lazy, and it didn't really make sense.
Yes.
Because going back to, I think it was like the very first X-Men movie, they would show flashbacks, and it almost like it led you to believe that like he only remembered stuff from that moment forward when they did the procedure or whatever.
Right.
So that again, it was just like, well, we got it to get it to where he doesn't remember anything. So let's shoot him with this, silver bullet. It's like the whole, but none of that that seemed to make a whole lot of sense.
I like the word you use, lazy. We got A1 in here. And Chris A1 from day one says, he gave us a salute. What up, Chris? How you doing, man? Hopefully all is well, brother. But it felt like I was in that particular scene, because we were talking about this off camera, and I have to introduce this to our audience. It felt like I was watching a Tubi movie. Okay, now to those of you who don't know, I watch a lot of Tubi. I'm weird like that. Like I do. You know what I mean? Well, David, you get it. Like, so David and I work kind of an IT job where we work tickets. We really don't speak to people over the phone, but I just got to have ambient noise in the background, right? So a lot of times, I'll watch it. And what agitates me more than anything is like when the writer does not do their research, right? So they'll write this story, right? And, they'll be in court, and the stuff that they're saying, first off, a judge wouldn't even allow that, right? He'd be like, no, and let me tell you something else. She picks her nose. Like, who cares? There's nothing to do with that, right? Like, there's a format in court that you follow, and as a writer, you need to know that. Like, I don't know, there was something where I can't even remember, but there's so many scenarios where people are charged with crimes that aren't even crimes. But for the sake of wrapping up the plot, that's what they do. And that's what this felt like. This felt like they were literally at the end of the movie, and they're like, okay, we need a way for him to lose his memory.
John, they showed him the gun and the bullets with no explanation. They just simply said, like, oh, if you shoot him in the head, it won't kill him, but it'll just get rid of his memory. There was like no explanation as to why. Like, is it damaging something? And then like, yeah, the part in his brain regenerates, but it doesn't. Like, there was just no. They might as well have just expanded the line to be like, yeah, because remember in the first one he didn't remember anything.
They
could have just added that to the line.
It felt like I was watching an old Batman movie where this is a memory spray. That's literally what it felt like, man. Jordan, your thoughts on the plot device?
Oh man, it's just so frustrating. I mean, I semi understand it with the whole, like, it's sort of like what can crack a diamond? Well, diamond can crack diamond. So I assume adamantium can break adamantium. But also, if you want to get really in detail and nitpick, obviously in all movies, a shot straight to the forehead is something that looks better than a shot that like grazes the forehead, grazes the back of the head or something like that. But if someone gets shot in the forehead and the one part of the brain that will be damaged is the prefrontal cortex, which is emotions. So it's nothing to do with memory though. Memory is in a different part of the brain. That would be the prefrontal cortex that would be damaged. He would be, I mean, it already kind of seems like his prefrontal cortex is damaged with how serious he is and how angry he is at everything. So that maybe it's already damaged. Maybe he's already shot in one of those wars.
What is it? A psychopath doesn't have that prefrontal cortex is not fully developed because they can't empathize.
That's like a whole. I in my psychology course that I took, that's like a thing that people sort of like made up, that psychopaths' prefrontal cortex is
underdeveloped,
is smaller or underdeveloped. Yes, but that's like what is it called? Like, that's just like not a stereotype, but it's just an old wives' tale, basically.
Like a myth, yeah.
Okay. So if you yawn in front of a psychopath, they're going to yawn back. Is that what you're saying? Because that's the rumor. Supposedly in the movies, that's how you can tell. You yawn. He didn't yawn. He's the killer. He did it. It's him. He did.
The one thing I do want to mention before we move on, and we talked about this off camera. I just want to educate some people on the pill that was used to kill his girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
So his girlfriend was given a dose of hydrochlorothiazide. That's exactly what they said in the movie.
Mm.
And for those who don't know, hydrochlorothiazide is just a water pill.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna make her do? You know what's gonna make it do to her? She's probably gonna pee more. like in the woods, he's like, no. Why is there urine everywhere?
So guys,
Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, a lot of people who take blood pressure pills, especially if you take multiple pills, you retain water. So what that does is it makes you release water at a higher rate so that there's no buildup in your lower extremities, right? Because I take so many blood pressure pills, like if I just sit all day, my feet are huge. So I got to get up and walk around. But water pills help you to pass that. But it's funny, Jordan said, I take this all day. I'll probably take hydrochlor, whatever the hell what is it, Jordan? I take them every day.
Hydrochlorothiazide.
Thank you, those pills. It didn't dawn on me. Like I'm sitting here working, and I must have heard them say that 2 or 3 times, and it didn't dawn on me until Jordan said, and I was like, you're right, they are water pills. What the hell are they doing? Again, lazy writing. Just lazy.
And that's why
Deadpool made up
Deadpool.
some sort of medicine.
That's why Deadpool in the first movie, he looks at the camera and says, "Well, that's just lazy writing."
Exactly.
He's basically pointing to every X-Men movie ever. That's just lazy writing.
Well, so are they? You know what? I gotta be honest, because it's been a while since I watched the one from 2000. First Class was definitely better. That series was far better, definitely, than this. But I don't remember. It's been so long since I've watched the first X-Men, which we'll obviously get into in the next couple of weeks or so. But was that writing just as lazy or just as bad?
It was a early 2000s movie. Like every early 2000s, it was like a rom-com. Like they're all not great writing. I would say like the first great written Marvel movie, like I wouldn't even call Blade a great written. It was just good writing. Like X-Men, all the first 2 at least had good writing, solid writing. A couple missed plot points here and there, but we really don't get into like a great written X-Men movie until First Class. Then we follow that up. We get the Wolverine. The Wolverine, I can't wait to talk about the Wolverine. In my opinion, that is the most underrated Marvel movie. MCU, Fox, Spider-Man, most underrated Marvel movie ever. But every early 2000s movie had that like lazy writing aspect of it.
Okay. I tell you what, that joke with Halle Berry, what do you do with the toad in the rain? That was just like, they didn't know how to write her. Like, that was terrible. I remember how bad, like they wrote her. It was just awful. And Halle, excuse me, Kim, she's so hot. Like,
hey, did I tell you I met her, Terry?
You did.
And ironically, it was right around the time the very first X-Men movie was released.
Really?
Tell us the story.
Yeah, so I was working as an usher. This is not a reflection of how I work now, but I didn't do a damn thing in those days. I would clock in and watch movies and clock out and leave.
Oh, shit.
Not even kidding. But and I used to screw with people to no end. I would tell people like just like outlandish shit all the time. It was a blast. I loved working there. I ate a ton of popcorn and watched movies. Really didn't work and still got paid. So it was awesome. But so she walks in and it was like during the day. I don't even know if it was on like a Saturday or a Sunday, but it was during the day. She came in and there was some awards thing in downtown Cleveland, and there was like some hit and run thing that I remember she got into, and she had like this, I don't know if it left a scar, but she had a mark like on her forehead for a good little while. And so, because at first it was like, it's like one of those things where like, yeah, the person kind of looks like them, but we're in fucking Ohio. Like, right. What are the chances?
Right.
But then I'm like, but that's the mark on her forehead and everything. Like, I think that's really her. and we had like these canvas posters in the hallways, like where the movies and stuff were, of each X-Men character, because that was like the biggest movie that had come out at the time. And I told my manager, I was like, Jim, we gotta have her sign the Storm poster and everything. And of course, because I'm always screwing with people and just making shit up, he's this is just another thing I'm telling.
It's far for the
yeah, right, whatever. Just keep rolling the hot dogs and all that stuff. So I looked at the usher schedule and everything. She went in to see, I think it was like Fantasia 2000 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So she was with an older lady and a little girl, and I went and seen what time the movie got out. And I was super cool about it. So I had met like people I'd looked up to and famous people like up until this point. So I don't really get I didn't really like get starstruck or anything like that for most people that I met. Anyhow, she comes out, and then I was like, I don't really want to make a scene or anything, but do you think you can sign this for me really quick? It was the back of the usher schedule. I just ripped off the paper and everything, and it was the coolest thing. And she was like, "Yeah, absolutely, honey." And so I could have died. I could have died, and it would have been a good life at that point, right there. But and then somebody yelled, "Oh, he was telling the truth. That's Halle Berry."
Oh,
and then everybody rushed her on the way out. And we're just piling on. And my manager's face, his mouth dropped. He was like, he could not believe it. I was like, "See, Jim, we could have got her to sign the Storm poster, dude." And I so would have stole that poster. As soon as everybody would have left, I would have made it like, you know what? I'm gonna clean up, guys. I'd have stole that shit. It would have been my last night working for that theater. I'm dead serious. That was like plan A, B, C, and D that night. There's no way this woman's coming in. I'm the one that spotted her, identified her. That's my poster.
I'm gonna clean up, guys. You guys go home.
You go ahead. I'll get the poppers. Don't worry about it.
I've got it, guys.
I'm just cleaning the poster. That's all. I'm gonna take it home and wash it. I'll clean it. Yeah. Oh, I'll bring it back. Yeah.
Oh, I'll bring it back.
Where's the poster at? I'll get it. Yeah, I forgot about it. It's drying off right now.
And to be honest, that would not have been the first one that would have disappeared. And then
oh wow! It's confession time. It's confession.
They're out of business. It's all good.
Wow. All right, guys, let's get into some character arcs. So, look, a lot of this story is centered around the dynamic between Wolverine and Sabretooth, or Logan and Victor, as they were. And basically, Victor trying to say to Logan, look, at your core, you're an animal. You're like me. You're a killer. We need you to embrace it. And a lot of this movie is just Wolverine kind of riding that line between principled man and trained killer. Okay. And look he leaves the path of violence. He finds love. Of course, he thinks that Kayla's killed. He's driven by revenge to the Weapon X program. He does discover the deception and the fight for freedom. And he then confronts Weapon 11 and faces the consequences. But I agree, even though when he told them to pound sand or whatever in the earlier version, I think his distrust, because what is fundamental to Logan or Wolverine or whatever you want to call him, he has a fundamental distrust for most people. Like, he trusts Charles Xavier and he trusts Jean Grey. And I mean, he's a good teammate, but for the most part, he doesn't trust people. And I think it's pretty much born here. Guys, give me your thoughts on this. Did we miss anything? Give me your thoughts on this. Don't everybody go at once.
I mean, I don't know. The one thing I will say we need to discuss is Deadpool post procedure, because this might
Yeah.
single-handedly be the worst character design of
Yeah.
any comic book character ever
Yeah.
in live action.
Yeah.
In fact, I didn't. My brain. Again, I was 8 years old when this movie came out. I didn't even know that was Deadpool until I was maybe 14, 15.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought that was some sort of like, because all right, so in certain like kids shows that like involved characters with a lot of powers, or you can even talk about like the Power Rangers. You can talk about like Ben 10. Ben 10 was my thing. I'll talk about that for hours. But you'll always have like all the characters' powers put together and combined into one person or one character.
Right.
And that's what I thought it was. I thought when I was watching this, I was like, oh, that's a made up character with a bunch of just everybody's powers. Okay.
Because they didn't even say Deadpool in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like
They
I
called
don't
him
even
the
think
Fool.
they ever referenced
They
him
called
that
him the
way.
Fool, I think.
They
called
did.
him the Fool or something.
Well, that's right. You're right. They sure did.
And if all those characters had died, then he would be Deadpool because they'd be the Deadpool. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it didn't even make sense, the name thing. It didn't look like Deadpool.
No.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to do it with the eyes being like the shape of his mask, and that's just stupid. And I'm so glad in Deadpool 2 it opens up with him tapping on top on or no, that was Deadpool 1, where he has the action figure of this Deadpool. He's like, this is my prized possession, and the camera pans out and it's the Wham CD or the Wham record. This is just awful. To this day, I have not seen a worse character design in any comic book movie ever.
Mm-hmm. I think it was just a bad decision. I think it was a really poor decision. Again, this feels like somebody who did not read the comics trying to direct, right? Because here's the thing. I've been reading comics shit all my life, man. I'm a nerd at heart. I've been reading comics a long time, and I don't mind variations, but they have to make sense, and they have to be, to a certain extent, true to the character, right? Like, I'll give you an example of that. The version of the Illuminati in Doctor Strange Method of Madness, whatever the hell it was, pissed me off. Because never in a million years would all Illuminati members be killed. Even in that would not happen. You are talking about a collection of the smartest minds in the world, right? So if they were when they figured out that this is Wanda and they didn't know her, at least half the team would have just left. There's no way. Even if you substitute whoever, the fact that they are the badass Illuminati, they're not all going to die, right? To me, that was just an executive like, oh, this would be really cool, not understanding the subject matter. You get what I'm saying? And in this movie, I feel like they really made a mockery of Deadpool. They really did. Tremendous character, and really a dichotomy of, I don't want to say principles, but values, right? Because Deadpool is a mercenary. He will do some foul stuff, but by the same token, he will then turn around and do something that's really nice, and he kind of rides this wave of anti-hero and hero. But just, it was like, again, a plot device where we need a way for him to be silent. And if you know Deadpool, you know he's never silent. He never shuts up. He never shuts up. I've even seen iterations where literally his head's cut off and he's still talking. So, whatever. I agree with you 100%, Jordan. Just bad. Just bad. I think that is probably, other than the claws, my second least favorite thing about this movie. Dave, you want to talk about it, or are you good? Thought?
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with all of that, especially with Deadpool, because I had no idea, and again, like I was saying before, I had no idea about that secret ending until I had just rewatched it this week. I was like, oh, so like, because usually when they do that, it's like they're gonna lead into it. Because if you look at how they did build him up, like in their way. They built him up because of all those different abilities and everything. And then in the fight scene, he's just tearing them up. And then it's like, well, it took two of them kind of thing. And it's like, and then they had the secret ending. And it's like, yeah, now we want you to watch a movie about this character because this is the one we're pushing now. And like, it was on the note. But like at the time I watched it, I didn't know who the hell that was.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like another creation or whatever. And it was like something with all these different abilities lumped into, like, it did not. And again, like, I don't really know like the comic book lore of Marvel as much as I do DC, and I know very little of that also, but I had no idea who he was. I didn't know. I do like watching it back and seeing him now. It's like that's who I associate because I have seen the Deadpool movies and stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah. I just, at the time I originally saw it, I had absolutely no idea that was Deadpool. Like even with the eyes and everything. So yeah, I think they got that wrong, and I don't know that was not intended. I think they might have been trying to build intrigue, and it's like, oh, I like the spin that they're putting on Deadpool because like he's badass and he can jack anybody up. But no, it was just because what made the character so good, as we found out in the other movies, was the sense of humor, the comedy aspect, along with the action sequences and everything. But they tried to make him like completely serious and like build, create a mystique around him and generate interest. And it didn't go anywhere. Because weren't you guys saying earlier that was the plan after this one? They were going to do a spinoff.
Yeah.
And then, and obviously there was no desire to see that. So we didn't get that. But
that's where I say it's important that you have someone that is at least a fan of the comics that can say this is just stupid. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're writing someone who is the antithesis of the character. Deadpool talking shit is like Steph Curry giving you the shimmy after a three. It just is. It's why you go see him. You know what I mean? Like Steph Curry shoots the three. What are you going to get? You're going to get the shimmy. Deadpool has to talk trash. That's who he is. That is who he is. Honestly, if Deadpool actually finally died and went to heaven, pause. I think he would actually talk trash when God was judging him. I really do. He'd be the only idiot to be like, well, God. He'd crack a joke. That's Deadpool. Right? Like, whatever. I'm probably going to hell for making that suggestion. Anyway, Sabretooth. Do you guys think Wolverine and Sabretooth hate each other in the comics, or give me your thoughts on that?
I mean, in the comics, they do. It's a little weird. So like, the way that Sabretooth is portrayed in film with the first X-Men movie with Deadpool and Wolverine versus this iteration, the comics is more of like there's no like fond that Wolverine and him have in the comics.
Right.
They just are brothers. They acknowledge that, but they also are on opposite sides and they don't interact as much
at all.
So like what we see not even the first X-Men movie, but even like the very small part that we got in Deadpool and Wolverine is basically how they act with one another. I do like the idea of their family and they still hate. Like, I liked if you presented me with this and said, and before this movie came out and said, this is how we want to do Sabretooth and Wolverine, I'd be like, that's a great idea. Like, that's such an interesting take that we have not seen before. And I think it would be something great to explore. And I mean, because the movie's so short, we don't really see all that much. We don't even get to see the beginning of the movie kind of portrays it that like Sabretooth's the big brother of Wolverine and that he wants to protect him. But then after all of that, it's just like a flip-flop of roles that like Wolverine is the one who's like more of the older brother.
The adult in the room.
Yeah. And in fact, when I first saw this movie, I was confused because I'm like, wait, I thought that was Wolverine that was the younger brother.
Right.
And I was so confused because I had no idea where anything was going. I didn't know. I was like, I thought Sabretooth was the older brother, but as they get older, they just again flip-flopped roles. So it just, I don't know. The execution was just bad, and I think it also had to do with just it was a really short movie that this live stream's now longer than.
Oh wow! Oh. I almost feel like that's a cue to like, let's go. Let's
No, that's a good thing. This movie he sucks. So we're talking all this trash. We got more trash to come. It's trash night, baby. Trash cans are to the curb. It's big trash night. We're putting those box TVs up to the curb because we don't use them. They ain't working. It's trash night. So we're gonna keep going.
I'm gonna one day make a reel of all our shows, Jordan. This one's going on there. I just want you to know that was a gem you just dropped, my friend. Stryker. Did I even put Stryker in here? I did. I just didn't like the fact that like you don't. William Stryker is a hateful man, and I just feel like that should be. I just feel like they portray him wrong, right? It's like writing the Joker without the jokes, right? Like the Joker is a very complex character because he doesn't even know where this is going. He doesn't care if the plan succeeds. He's along for the experience, right? Like he said, I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to happen if I caught it. Like that is the embodiment of the Joker. And hatred for mutants, it's like his oxygen. It's like his life's blood. And this ambivalent figure that we get, this strategic Bobby Fischer type chess move dude who's like, yeah, I'm going to get him and build him. Again, it just feels wrong, right? Look, William Stryker's son killed his wife, and he hates him and all mutants for it. And I'm not saying he's right, but I do understand. Now, the way he's going about it is wrong, but his hatred, I'm going to say something I shouldn't say. William Stryker's hatred towards mutants, it's like good old-fashioned country hate in Mississippi for people like me. You feel it as soon as you walk into the store. They don't have to tell you. You already know it. You already know. Hey, man, it's 6 o'clock. Joe, we need to go. We're going to get locked up if we're not out of here by 8 o'clock. We need to roll, okay? Like, his hatred towards mutants is palpable, and I just feel like he's incomplete here. I really that's probably the third issue that I have, is that if you're gonna write a character, certain things you can't strip away, right? It's like, I'm not gonna say he's as bad as Justice League's Lex Luthor, but he's bad, right? I don't know. Anyway, we talked about it. It's cool.
Look at that cool poster too.
So
Like
what?
they had such cool posters for this movie.
Right,
Like
yeah.
that's such a cool poster. The left
They
one.
did.
And then when you go to the next screen, like that top right one, that's
Yep.
sick. Like
Yeah, that
there's
was
so many really cool aspects about this movie that
Yeah.
in like if this movie came out today with TikTok, it would be one of the best movies of the year in terms of how it's viewed by the internet. But it's so bad because in little instances it's great. Deadpool cutting a bullet in half. You got Wolverine jumping out of water with metal claws. You got a helicopter
The
blowing
helicopter
up.
scene, right?
You got
yeah.
World War, you got war flashback scenes. You got Jimmy. I mean, you got so
Jimmy!
much stuff.
Jimmy!
It's meme material. This movie is meme material before memes. So, yeah, if this movie came out nowadays, 100% would be on TikTok, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, all that stuff.
What was that Phil Collins song? Now, Billy, they should replace that with Jimmy. Now, Jimmy, don't you lose my number? You probably don't remember. But yeah, man, just bad. Let's talk about themes. Nature versus nurture definitely is a thing. Definitely is a thing. Because you can look at Victor, whose dad was an alcoholic and probably was the 1840, probably emotionally unavailable. Like, come on. What was he, like a farmer? I mean, wasn't a lot to do back then. He didn't look like he was a man of means. It didn't work out with Logan's mom. I just wish they would have kind of delved into that because they just left us hanging. Like, he's just like, oh, I'm your dad. Oh, what? What the hell was that? I was your dad. And then he just dies. And then the mom is like, what are you? Like he's some demon. And they just run off. And then the next time we see them, they're running into wars and fighting. Like they literally, like, bro, come on. Who greenlit this? But definitely nature versus nurture, redemption and sacrifice. Definitely. I think Wolverine tries. Well, so one thing they didn't delve into, we don't know if he has any guilt about his real father's death. Like, it didn't seem like it. Seemed like they wrapped it up pretty quick in the woods. Like, well, he was bad. You did what you had to do. Of course, he's told this by a complete psychopath. I don't care what Jordan says. Sabretooth is a psychopath. But whatever. The burden of the past, family and loyalty, and good versus evil. Yes, all themes. Guys, anything maybe I left out, any other themes you can think of that come to mind when you watch this movie? Real writers versus, no, I'm kidding. Anything you can, lifetime writers versus actual people who can write? No, I'm kidding. Give me your thoughts.
Spend time working on the movie.
Are you listening, Marvel? Marvel, are you listening?
Even the CGI aspect, we are having those same issues now, right now. We are not learning about taking time to perfect the movie. What James Gunn did with his process for his current Superman movie is exactly how everything should be. And that all, like, the MCU really started with that with Iron Man 2, because they rushed Iron Man 2 immediately after Iron Man 1 success. And they were like, all right, you have a year to release Iron Man 2. And Jon Favreau was like, what? You a year? This isn't going to take that long. It's going to take years. But because they wanted to rush the Avengers. And just take your time. I hope James Gunn doesn't falter, because I love the way he's planning out DC. He's taking his time. He's forcing other people who bring him Elseworlds projects to take their time and perfect the script. He won't greenlight anything until he sees a blueprint. And this movie was just a prime example of you need to be patient. Just because it sounds good and looks good doesn't mean it's going to be good. And, you know, I appreciate the trying new things with like the CGI claws. Like I appreciate the idea that they tried it. It didn't work. That's okay. But yeah, they just need to try. But in terms of the actual movie itself, I actually don't think the themes are great in this movie. Like I don't think there's a theme that really sticks out the most because of how much is thrown into this movie.
Yeah, it's like
there's so many plot points, so many different characters, so many relationships, and even the final battle is more of just like a fist punching rather than there's nothing really morally sound about it. It's like a Michael Bay ending.
Only I kill you.
Yes. Which we need to do the Transformers movies eventually. I love them all.
I tell you what, that fifth one though was terrible. The one about the night or whatever.
Oh, that was the worst one. Yeah.
That was terrible.
But I have strong opinions about the Dark Side of the Moon. I love that. That is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Brother Jordan, for you, we can do the Transformers movie. Do we have to do 5 though? Do we? Because that was
just like we did this movie.
Oh
gotta do all the bad ones too.
I feel like I went to the proctologist, man. Like that just oh gosh, that's okay. That was a bad movie. I didn't even finish it, Jordan. Oh my God, that movie was like I can do 1 through 4. I can do 6 and 7. But I need a clone. I need a clone that's going to do it for me the week we do. The week we do the Eternals and the week we do Transformers 5, I just feel like I'm going to be sick, Jordan. I'm not saying this is the case. I feel like I'm going to be sick.
Anyways. That's how I feel about Secret Invasion. The day we do Secret Invasion, I will be, you'll see me visibly angry reacting to this. And She-Hulk, because tangent.
Yeah, that was awful.
Side tangent about She-Hulk. She-Hulk is my favorite female comic book character. Point blank. Period. I loved her in the comics. I had her action figures. I loved seeing her cameo in some of the animated shows in the 90s. I loved She-Hulk. I love Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk. I loved it. That show sucks.
But we got to see Daredevil again.
Yes, we did. I can't. Yes. All right. We'll get into that when we talk about Daredevil. I can't wait. All of that's great, but She-Hulk, I love She-Hulk. But
so getting back to this one before we get into the rating. So that part you brought up, T, about they killed his dad in the beginning, and you're not really like invested at that point to even know. So if you compare that to the old guy who takes him in after he escapes the facility. They didn't even have much of a build for that, but there was some because you were attached to because like look at these kind-hearted people taking them in, and when they died, like you were like there was more of a reaction for that in the beginning, and that was just a little bit of time to like put words out of those like coming out of those characters' mouths for you to get invested. To be more concerned, because I cared more about that than I did the part at the beginning, and I think that's like most other people who watched it. And it just took a few minutes. It took a few minutes of showing the man and the man and the wife, and that was it. You were invested. That was all it took for that, and I felt more for them than I did at the beginning.
That pissed me off, man.
I thought those were the Kents. I thought those were. Like if you literally took them and threw them into a Superman movie, generic
Yeah.
Superman movie as their parent, as the Kents, 100% would have believed you.
Probably right. It just pissed me off when they died, man, because she's like, "Oh, I brought you this," and all of a sudden, bam, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I'm glad dude died in the helicopter because he was a jerk. I'm glad he died. Yeah, I am. I'm glad he died. If it were me, I would have given him the whole Jack Nicholson line from Batman. I'm glad you're dead. New Joker brand. Where can you get these products? I'm glad you're dead. Okay. Anyway. What did I give this movie? Well, I gave this movie no, I'm kidding. I gave it a 5 out of 10. For obvious reasons. Obviously, the CGI was not great. But I really, I've talked about what I didn't like. There's certain things with the characters I really didn't like. I feel like they kind of made a mockery out of Deadpool. I felt like Stryker was not written properly. And I just felt like, the whole story in the beginning with his dad not being his dad kind of brought like this Jerry Springer element to it because you didn't really get into it. So it's kind of like, oh, you are not the father, but you're dead. Let's go. Next scene. We got shit to do. I didn't like it. So, yeah, I gave it a 5. Jordan, what'd you give it, sir?
Well, for me, my scale is like a 5 out of 10 is a positive score still for me. But 5 is like the most like average a type of movie for me. This movie, I give it a 4 out of 10. Okay. I gave it a negative review. I mean, when I first saw it, it has not aged well either.
No.
But yeah, this movie just has so many issues. In fact, of all the X-Men, of all the connected movies that we're going to be looking at, this is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, my 13th worst Marvel project of the connected movies and shows that we're looking at. Of the X-Men movies and there's just movies that we're looking at. Only 2 other X-Men projects I have worse than this. We won't get into them anytime soon. We'll get into one maybe in a couple months, but 4 out of 10 for me. I'm not going to recommend this movie to anyone.
Amen. Dave Meister, Dave O. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, I'd say it's about middle of the road. I'd give it a 5. On the bright side, it's a Wolverine movie, so there's that. Oh. There are some cool visuals and some cool scenes in it, but that's like about as far as it goes. Like that's the most positive. Because again, like just no build. We're just gonna blow our whole wad on this movie. When you could have easily, this could have like Wolverine's origin story, the coolest origin story out of all. And again, I don't really like know the lore or anything, but like watching the original X-Men movies, like his backstory is the one that like I feel like people got most intrigued about. Easily could have been 3 movies, easily.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. It was just rushed. We're gonna jam pack this with characters. And then we're going to try and, get people intrigued in this horrible ass version of Deadpool by the end of it with the secret ending. Like, yeah, it was all kinds of made up, but it was about Wolverine, one of my favorite characters. And there were some cool scenes, but that's about as far as it goes. So yeah, I'll give it about 5 out of 10.
I love Wolverine, man. It's kind of like Jordan, you made this comment about a month ago. And I'm really seeing the wisdom in it. Now, it was related to sports, but it applies here. You said every team in the NFL, because I was like, the Falcons' floor for this year, because they got a great offense, is 10. And you were like, no, the floor for every NFL team is 30 because you have coaches that can mismanage talent. And this is a prime example. Yeah. You had a premier cast and they just poo-pooed the hell out of this. Like they treated this as though it were a rental vehicle, right? You know how some people rent a car and just dog it out because they don't own it, and then take it back for the. That's how this movie was treated. It could have been so much better. It could have been so much more. It should have been. But just yeah, man. As my father would say, God rest his soul. Piss poor, just piss poor management, piss poor writing, piss poor development. Shout out to my dad and my mom. My mom would say, that ain't worth a ham sandwich. Oh, she used to make me laugh. My parents were from Alabama. They're from Montgomery, Alabama. So they're about as country could get. Oh, my God. Whenever I used to piss her off, she said, that ain't worth a ham sandwich. Oh, my God. That my mom would say this movie was not worth a ham sandwich. So there you go. Gentlemen, hey, man, look, I got to be honest with you. I think we got a squad here, man. Dave, you're welcome to come back anytime. I hope you do. I'm going to give you the schedule that we got for the next 2 months. And hey, man, anyone you can appear on, we would be greatly appreciative. We've got X-Men Apocalypse next week.
Mm-hmm.
August the 16th, we're not doing anything. We're chilling. August the 23rd, we got Dark Phoenix. August 30th, we got Captain Marvel. September 6th, we got Blade. The 13th, we got Blade 2. The 20th, we got X-Men. I'm assuming that's the 2000 one, right?
Yeah.
All right. Then the 27th, Spider-Man, all 3, even the one with the dance scene. Jesus
Well,
Christ.
no, we're only going to do the first one. We're going to do the first one 1 week. So what's fun about this is when we started, I didn't plan. There was no we didn't plan when we were going to start this or anything.
Right.
And it lined up perfectly that in our schedule of doing these streams, that the Sam Raimi trilogy is coming back into theaters for a re-release, and Spider-Man 2002 would be releasing a week after we would be streaming it. So because we're not streaming that one day, it lines up perfectly with a re-release. Okay. So we can go. I'm going to the theaters to watch it. I saw Spider-Man 2 in the theaters. I saw Spider-Man 3 in the theaters. I've seen every other Spider-Man since. So this is going to be the first time I'm seeing this movie in theaters. So this is going to line up perfectly. And also, I'm going to talk about this for next week's stream because this is where the Marvel timeline is really confusing, especially the X-Men timeline. That's so confusing. So we're going to be doing X-Men Apocalypse next. So this is not in the same timeline as this movie or the X-Men the 2000s trilogy of X-Men X2 and X-Men The Last Stand. The movie X-Men Days of Future Past, which we will get to down the road, way down the road, because of when that movie takes place, even though there's time travel involved.
Right. It's way in the future.
So Days of Future Past creates a new timeline that's not a spoiler or anything.
Yeah.
And that's when the X-Men Apocalypse movie takes place. So theoretically, this universe that we're going to be diving into, the only thing you would have needed to watch to plan for Apocalypse is X-Men First Class.
Yep. Cool. Well, hey, man. Jordan is anything if not thorough. But guys, man, this was fun as always. I can't wait. I look forward to Saturday, man. I podcast Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but I look forward to every day, but I really look forward to Saturday. This is fun because and not that sports isn't fun. You know what I'm saying? This is fun. Anyway, Dave, tell these people where they can find you. Or
right here.
Love it.
I have no handles.
Love it. Love it.
I play sports and I go places. Not to knock social media by any stretch. I have been thinking of doing podcasts and stuff like that. I'd love to talk about pro wrestling, hockey, that kind of thing. But I got a million different things going on. But yeah, this is fun when I get a chance to do it. So yeah, I'd like to do it a lot more, but I have no handles. Talk to Terry, talk to Jordan.
Right here. That was perfect, man. It was just like right here, buddy.
Right here. You can
same
send
bad channel.
messages.
Next week. After these messages, we'll be right back. Jordan, tell us folks like, and don't you say right here. God darn.
All right, so I'm gonna draw a map of the United States and then I'll put a dot of where I'm at.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Oh wow! Dave, there's to give you a little backdrop on that. So Dave, you work with me. You know I'm a little forgetful at times. So it was me, Jordan, and Debo. Debo's another guy I podcast with, and we were talking before the show. And Jordan tells Debo where he lives. But again, this was before the show. So during the show, I remembered that they have the conversation, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, well Jordan already said it. So I was like, oh, Jordan lives in this city and state, and Debo's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh shit, like I forgot. So whenever Jordan goes to talk about his residence, that's what he's referring to. Okay, Jordan. So he didn't know the background, but go ahead, Jordan. Tell them where they can.
My social security number is 123. You can find me at Old Tegacy, ULTEGACY. We do a whole bunch of things about sports. I just posted about the Hall of Fame week. We got Cooperstown inductions for baseball. We got Canton Pro Football Hall of Fame inductions for football. So yeah, we talk about sports. I have all my ratings for all the movies, all the ones that we're going to be reviewing already on my Letterboxd. I love the Letterboxd app. This is no promo or anything, but it's just a great way to organize all the movies that I watch and reviewing them and stuff. But yeah, you can follow me on there. That's where, yeah. You can also find me here every Saturday, and we'll see you next week for X-Men Apocalypse.
Same bad time, same bad channel. Jordan also has 100,000 viewers on Facebook, and he is the king of spreadsheets. And I know of which I speak. Jordan could probably, if Jordan was a mutant, his power would be spreadsheets. Like, he is that good. He sent me a spreadsheet, and I'm like, there is no way in hell, if you paid me money, I could have created this spreadsheet. Like the spreadsheet he sent for Marvel, Dave, it's a thing of beauty. I still don't know what the hell it means, but he clearly spent a whole lot of time on it. Like the thing is this wide, okay? And there's no telling how many variables, but you get my point.
My spreadsheets are sassy.
Yeah.
Sassy.
Oh shit! Oh wow!
I like his spreadsheets. They got sass.
Sass.
I got nothing, man. You got me with that one. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. We appreciate it. I apologize for the eruption of laughter. Jordan timed that well. Well played, sir. Very well played. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. I want to thank God for giving me the ability to do this. Thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for bringing these two gentlemen in my life. Last but not least, I want to thank Mr. Jack Spade and Mr. Eric Parker for giving my start in this business. Guys, you have an amazing day. We will see you next week, and good night, everybody. Dave, hang on, because we're going to come back after the show's over because I want to go over some stuff with you, if that's okay. Good night, everybody. And again, thank you so much for joining us. This was great.
Lights, camera, action is going down for my ATL movies when we run this town. With your host T. Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. Every frame we capture is the real deal.
All right, we're out. Yeah.